Hello everyone. In this video we are going to see about BGP update source loopback and BGP next of self, what they are, why they are used. First we'll just look into a BGP update source loopback. Why we need a BGP update source loopback? Let's consider these two routers over here. This is one router and this is one router. Okay. And let's consider we are having a two loopback IP address in these two routers. Okay. We are now trying to form a neighborship between these two routers with the loopback IP address. Just be clear, we are forming a neighborship with the loopback IP address, not with the physical IP address. We are not forming with this IP, we are forming with the loopback IP over here. We are forming a neighborship with the loopback IP. If we are forming a neighborship with the loopback IP address, what happens is, when we try to form a neighborship, it needs to have information from the BGP source as with this interface that is a loopback interface, or else it will not form a neighborship. If it is a physical interface, then automatically it is being directly connected, it will be form a neighborship. Since it is from a loopback IP address, we need to mention that a BGP needs to form or send its updates with this loopback. So that's why we are using a BGP update source loopback 0. If we form a neighborship with this loopback, we need to have that information. And here is a configuration part for that. We need to log into the BGP configuration and want to mention this remote AS to which it has been pointing. It will be showing some as a jitter has been expired or something. That is for an initiation process. But if you are forming with a loopback IP address, this command is a must. Even if it is a IBGP or ABGP, whatever it be, this command is mandatory. That is, we are sending our updates with the help of a loopback 0. Then only it will form a neighborship, or else it will not form. So this is the main reason for BGP update source loopback 0. Next is BGP next of self. That we look in a couple of seconds. Just a minute. Okay. Next is BGP next of self. What is a BGP next of self? Let's consider this scenario. Okay. Let's consider this scenario as R1, R2 and R3, and R1 and R2 belongs to one AS and R3 belongs to the other AS. So what happens is that if you want to reach this network 3.3.3.3/32, so from the R1 you can able to see this network, but you are unable to reach the network. If you look at a BGP table, it will be showing this IP 192.168.23.0/24 as a next stop in order to reach this 3.3.3.3 network. So it can be solved by two methods. Either you need to advertise this network, that is 192.168.23.0 in BGP, so that it can able to learn this reach this network in order to reach that, or else you need to point this neighbor with the loopback, with the next of self. That is the meaning of that is that you just choose your own own next stop in order to reach that network. It changes its next stop itself so that they can able to reach the particular network. So let's see into the lab about these two concepts. Okay. I have already configured the basic IP configuration part regarding this. What I'm going to do is, I just removed the BGP configuration and show you how to configure the loopback 0 and next of self over here. Okay, I have already pre-configured all the IP address. I'll show you in a couple of seconds, This is for R2. And this is for R3. I have configured a EAGRP between R1 and R2 for reachability purpose. I'll show here. Okay, I have advertised a loopback IP address and a physical interface in EAGRP. The same thing I have configured in R2, but I have not yet configured in R3 regarding this, because I am going to run only BGP in R3. Let's get into the concept of configuring update source loopback 0. Okay, first I configure BGP between R2 and R3 by using a physical interface. This is what I will tell you what I'm going to do now. R1 and R2 belongs to one AS, that is AS1, and R2 and R3 belongs to different AS, that is the eBGP. First, I'm going to configure a BGP between R2 and R3 with this physical IP address, that is 192.168.23.0/24 segment. Next, I'm going to configure a BGP, that is iBGP between R1 and R2 with their loopback interface, and I show you how the update source loopback 0 works over here. This is our first part. Next is our next of self. I need to reach this network from R1. Okay, it can be done by using two methods. As of now, it will not be reachable, but we can do reachable with the help of two methods, either advertising this segment, that is 23.0/24, or by using a next of self command. So our ultimate goal is to reach the loopback IP 3.3.3.3 in AS number 2 from R1. So this is our lab process. Let's configure it. First, I'm going to configure BGP with the help of physical interface in R2 and R3. Okay, it has to come up. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. Okay. Okay, it has up. Let's verify whether the BGP between R2 and R3 become up or not. Bot connection timeout. 1 second. There is some misconfiguration, I think so. Okay, that's the issue. It's not 23.1, it's 23.2. Okay, now it's up. Let's verify our configuration now. Okay. Now the BGP neighborship between R2 and R3 is up. Now we need to configure a BGP between R1 and R2. Okay. Let's start by R1. Okay. I have done the same configuration between R2 and R3, but here I am using a loopback IP address over here. Let's wait for a couple of seconds whether it forms a neighborship between R1 and R2. Also, you have to make sure that there should be a route to reach R1 to R2. If there is no route between R1 and R2, it will show a notification message as there is no route to reach a particular network. I have already configured a EUGRP between these two routers, so there's no issue in terms of reachability between R1 and R2. Okay, it's not forming a neighborship between these two. The reason is I'm trying to form a neighborship with the help of loopback IP address, not with a physical interface, with the help of loopback IP address. Okay, so what happens is it doesn't know how to reach it. It's having a EUGRP information, routing information, but doesn't have a information in BGP table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update the source as a loopback from here. So neighbor 2.2.2.2 update source loopback 0. Okay, the same thing with that neighbor. I'm going to do update source loopback and 0. Now it's done. So far so good. We form a neighborship between these two ends. So this is the main use of update source loopback 0. When you are forming a neighborship with the help of a loopback IP address, you need to mention the update source loopback command, or else it will not form a neighborship. Okay. Next, we are going to see about next of self. Okay. For this, I need to advertise a loopback of R1, R2, and R3 in the BGP. In every routers, I need to advertise its loopback. I haven't advertised anything. I'm going to advertise the loopback IP address of every router in BGP. See here, it doesn't have any information. Okay. Okay, I have advertised the loopback IP address of every router in BGP. Now I check the BGP table now. You can see I can get the information about all the interface or IP address that I have advertised in BGP. Okay. Now I try to reach each and interface, each and every IP address. Okay. Okay. Oops, 3.3.3 is not reachable. Why I'm using source as loopback 0 over here is that I didn't advertise the information of physical interface, that is 192.168.12.0 in R1 in BGP. I didn't advertise this information in BGP. So automatically by default it sees its routing table in order to reach a particular network. If it sees its routing table, it will be in terms of fast Ethernet 0/0. So it sends the information with it. So automatically it will not reach. Since I have advertised only the loopback interface, I'm trying out with the loopback interface. So that's why the other two interfaces are reachable. There's no issue in that. While in case of 3.3.3, what's the issue over here is I will just explain now. If you look at a BGP table, you need to reach this network, okay? And at the same time, it's not also a best route. Just leave that apart. If you need to reach this network, you need to go over here. This network should be reachable since this is the next stop. Okay. Now I am going to reach this network. It's not reachable. Okay, I just try it with loopback 0 with the source as a loopback. Now also it's not reachable. Okay. Now this kind of issues can be resolved by two methods. Either advertising a physical interface of R2 over here. You need to advertise the interface. There is a physical interface that is being connected to R3. That means this interface, that is 192.168.23.0 segment, this interface should be advertised in BGP so that our destination network can be reached. That's one method. Next method is our concept, that is the next of self. We just do it with both the methods now. Okay. Let's move on to R2 and do the configuration part. That's it. It is done. Now we check with R1 over here. Okay. Now we can able to reach 23.3. Here you can check it now. Now it's the best path. And at the same time, if you need to reach this network, you need to go over here. That is 23.3. If you want to reach this 23 segment, you need to go over here. So since this is reachable, it will also be reachable, and automatically this will also be reachable. Okay. Now let's try with 3.3.3.3 with the source loopback 0. Now it's working. This is one way of resolving this type of issues. And next is, I'm going to remove this network and I'm going to advertise by using a next of self command. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is using a next of self, that is from R2, I'm going to point R1's neighborship with the next of self. Okay, let's do it. This is neighbor. This is our neighbor, that is 1.1.1.1. From R1 I am pointing this and using a next of self, which means I am asking or informing R1 to choose its own next stop in order to reach other destinations. So that's what this command is about. Okay. Next, now I'm going to check the BGP table now. You can see here the next stop here is 2.2.2.2. If you see the previous table here, if you want to reach this network, you need to go to 23.3. So that's what the information is about. And here if you look into it, you need to go to 23.3, and if you want to reach this, you need to go over here. So this is the information that is being provided while we are advertising a 192.168.23.0 segment manually. And now with the help of next of self command, the information is showing as you need to reach 2.2.2.2 in order to reach 3.3.3.3. Okay, now we just try whether we can able to reach 3.3.3.3. No issues, it can reach. But if you try to reach 3.3.3.3 without using a source, it's not reachable. I already said the reason behind this is we didn't advertise a physical interface of R1, that is the outgoing interface, that is 192.168.12.0. That's the reason behind this. Okay, can we just confirm that? Now I'm going to advertise that physical interface in BGP so that we can make sure that is the issue behind this. Okay, now I have advertised. Now I'm going to check show BGP table. This information is being shown. Now I'm going to ping this network. Now it's pinging without a source. The reason is now it by default it chooses physical interface. That physical interface is in the BGP table. So now it knows how to reach the particular network. So that's it about update source loopback 0 and next off self. If you have any queries, doubts regarding this, just give a comment. That's it. Thanks for watching. Until next time.